On this episode of Takei, we'll be looking at the recent MSI DOTA National Tournament, where Nirvana.my duked it out with AEON MUFC for the title crown. We start off with the team ban list. AEON MUFC will be playing as the Sentinel and Nirvana as the Scourge. AEON bans will be Witch Doctor, VS, Partner and Visage, while Nirvana bans will be Broodmother, Doombringer, Enigma and Obsidian Destroyer. And here's a look at who will be playing who.
Pretty decent bans. I guess both teams are pretty familiar with each other's strategies. Here's the first encounter in the middle where they fight for Ward supremacy. First blood is taken by Nirvana, where the lion gets invisibility rune and he goes the extra mile all the way down just to gang the necrolite.
Normally I think first bloods are very important because they have this sort of morale effect on you, especially if you're in the competition. I felt that MUFC could have fared better in the early game if they swapped Necro with POTM for the bottom, since POTM paired with two disablers, especially CM, it makes her arrow kind of hard to dodge. It's like a permanent stun, so you get early game dominance instead of having the Necrolite suffer at the bottom. Even though the Necrolite was obviously a secondary farmer with the POTM as a primary, but I think the Necrolite could have fared better against a Windrunner, no problem.
Now in 3-1-1 strategies, normally the team will opt to put a survival hero on the defensive lane. That is the one hero that will be facing against 3, and I think MUFC AEON made a pretty weak choice placing Necrolite alone, because even though the Necrolite has a heal, it's only 75 at level 1 and there's no way you can survive without putting any distance between yourself and the enemy. That's 3 spells versus 1 spell. Whereas Nirvana had a Windrunner with Shackle Shot, which can disable 2 heroes. Pretty easy. Actually, no effort at all. MUFC strategy is pretty straightforward, having a Necrolite to counter the Morphling. So the plan is probably just to nuke the Morphling down to half and Reaper him. That's why they have the Necrolite on the solo lane in the first place to farm. But don't think it really worked out in the first place. So they would have a Priestess of the Moon as their main farmer and Necrolite as second, whereas Nirvana has their Windrunner as a second farmer and Yamate's Morphling as their main. So normal maths go for winning 2 lanes and losing 1 lane. Pretty doable. So in terms of money allocation, I think Nirvana is doing pretty well there.
So around early game, it has been a stalemate for the middle and top, since Park can't be killed by anything and Storm can't be killed by anything, and both Windrunner and POTM have really annoying escaping skills, so they just stuck with it and Nirvana just continued bashing on MUFC's Necrolite. After watching this replay multiple times, I'm probably biased towards Nirvana, but I do think MUFC's combo could have been slightly better. From this gameplay, we can probably see that Nirvana has built its strategy around Yamate, a very famous player as we all know. The combo is very reliant on him being able to farm, with their Windrunner being the secondary farmer. Although Yamate's Morphling isn't what made him famous, he's still good at it, and we all know that the late game Morphling is very hard to kill, which is very important for base siege.
So I guess after looking at all these fights, you can probably tell that Nirvana has picked a setup that's pretty hard to kill. Could be a real bother killing their heroes. All the avoidance and survivability they have. So here AEON is banking heavily on Storm to initiate fights. Storm doesn't have a lot of HP though, huge amount of flexibility. But as you can see in this game, he's getting pretty much bashed up as well because of the Puck and the Tide Hunter. Having Puck initiate, Puck has like a free dagger of sorts, so the Tide Hunter can just walk in.
But I really do think that MUFC's POTN could have done a lot more in the game. Since it is a semi-killer and rapist hero, just farming in the lane and not really assisting is kind of a waste. Very bad pick if you're not going to do anything about it.
In this fight here, I have to question why the Earthshaker didn't come in earlier. Could have done much more if he came in earlier. Sort of like waiting, sort of a waste.
And even though AEON's Earthshaker has his Blink Dagger earlier than Nirvana's Tide Hunter, Nirvana has their Puck, which is also another hard to kill hero with its phase shift, so the Tide Hunter can just waltz in and concentrate on buying wards. And here you can see that the Necrolite isn't marking the Morphling again, which I think is really annoying, because according to the combo it looks like the Necrolite should be on Morphling all the time instead of looking at other heroes. I think as a secondary farmer he could have done much more with a Guinsoo or even a Stygian, Desolator or Radiance. Past the mid game, it is clear that Morphling is already kind of tough to chill, so they're focusing on the softer heroes, which makes the Necrolite pick kind of weird, since I would have thought that the Reaper was to be safe for the Morphling, so that they could cut him down to half and just finish him off even with the Aghanim, but they don't seem to be able to use it properly, since the Morphling isn't always the first to enter the fight. In Consolation, Morphling has been pretty imba since version 5. He can move freely around the map and he can be really tough by morphing his stats. Nirvana had no initial plans of doing an early push at all. From the looks of it, they were waiting for the Morphling to buff up, and now they are going on the offensive. And whenever they go in, it seems to really mean something as compared to MUFC.
So this late into the game, the Morphling already has Manta Style, Butterfly and BKB, so it's gonna be a hard time killing him already with his images and all that.
So we have the Morphling doing 2 lane pushes, left and right with the pub. The moment you pull your forces to one side, he'll just teleport to the other side. And since he's a killer, he'll probably eat the heroes on the other side. He'll probably burn down to a player endurance fight when it comes down to this, cause they'll be constantly circling the outer side of the base. So the defenders have a real tiring time of shifting between lanes.
It's an hour into the game, and right here I have to question why AEON got their Necrolite, their second farmer. Instead of buying pure damage gear, he went for a hood instead, Hood of Defiance, which is one of the worst items to buy in the game, for competition especially. It's about what, 2k plus, and you get wasted HP regen, which isn't worth much in a big fight, for 30% magic resistance, when you could spend $500 for 25% magic resistance, increase the goal elsewhere. Most of the time, with this kind of hero setup, you spend a lot of your time disabled, so in my opinion it's better to just buy tons of HP or just go pure damage instead. Either way, passive regen doesn't really work in big fights.
However, the most important point was MUFC didn't really have a lineman in front. They couldn't maximize hero trade-offs like Nirvana, since they have Tidehunter, which essentially he's just there for his beef and his ultimate. Then you can just die and you'll probably be victorious. Whereas Earthshaker normally holds back so that he can maximize his ultimate. So I think it was probably a very draft heavy game. They lost because of the draft and laning.